You do know we do need the Lord. In the book of Daniel. In the book of Daniel. Let's go over to chapter 9. Let's do verse 20 and 21. All right. Chapter 9, 20 and 21. We have dealt with the answer to this. I just want to deal with this time.
Yes, sir.
And while I was speaking and praying,
yes, sir. All right.
and confessing my sin,
Yes, sir.
the sin of my people, Israel, and presenting my supplication before the Lord my God for the holy mountain of my God.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, whilst I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly swiftly, touched me about the time of the evening oblation. I want to talk about a 911 prayer.
So, brother.
I left off here at my eldest son's church when I talked about the answer to a 911 prayer. They didn't know that I can hear very well. And I heard somebody from the audience ask an interrogative. I heard what the answer is, but what is a 911 prayer?
Yes, sir.
You know, that's a good question, because we are all familiar with a 911 call. Many times when we call 911, we are delirious, and we are frenzied, and even hysterical. In short, we need assistance right then. We don't want the emergency responders to delay. We really don't want them asking us a bunch of questions. Just get off the phone and get here now. And just in case there is someone who seriously don't know what I'm talking about when I talk about a 911 call, 911 is an emergency telephone number for the North American numbering system, and really is called the NANP, which stands for the North American Numbering Plan, one of 8 N11 codes, N being a variable for what you called. You remember we used to, back in the day, when we did not want to call the operator, we would dial 411 for information. They got so secluded that they wanted to make sure they were expanding their horizons, that we still had to match the number 0 on the rotary dial to get the operator, but we began to put 1411. That would not give you the operator, but yet it would give you the information. Now we have what is called 311, that if it is a non-emergency call, especially with the city, you can call 311. If you have an electronic device in your possession, many of them, if you want to get to some shortcuts, you dial 611. 611 many times would tell you what your bill is. 611 would tell you some information that you don't have to go online to get it explained. You only dial 611. But when you dial 911, you're not waiting on no apps, you're not waiting on no device, you're not waiting on no one to call you back, you don't want anyone to put you on hold, you want them to come right now. And like other emergency numbers around the world, this number was intended for only emergency circumstances. For even if we utilize it as a prank call, it is considered a crime. If you don't believe me, go ahead and play with your phone and dial 911. And a bunch of emergency responders will show up, and when they find out it's a prank call, and let me go ahead and tell you, I'm going to tell them which one of y'all called them. They're going to haul you out of here in some handcuffs. 911, you would get ticketed or fined for just playing on the phone when dialing 911. Somebody in here tonight, don't hold your hand too high, but somebody in here tonight, you accidentally hit 911 when you weren't trying to. And when you hit it, somebody came to your door, or either they call you back and say, did you dial 911? And you looked at your phone and frantically you said, nobody called here 911, looking at your phone, knowing that you accidentally hit it. but you were frightened with the consequences. So you told what Brother Taylor told me some time ago, a little white lie, and you told him that you did not dial the number. Well, I want to let you know tonight that every now and then, by dialing 911, I really mean to dial it. And when I call 911 on purpose, I really expect a response. And I wish I had some 911 saints in here tonight that if I say 911, you ought to make some kind of noise. And the reason why you're making some noise is because once upon a time you called on the Lord and you did not have time to wait on him, but you wanted him to answer you as soon as you called him. Do I have any witnesses in here tonight that you know you called on his name and he answered you right away? Yes, sir. All I'm trying to tell you tonight, that if you have the proper communication with God, when you have a 911 prayer, when your timber has already been sent up, the emergency dispatch officer, Jesus, makes sure he sends your emergency call to the emergency responder God to the caller's location in a hurry, because the prayer system is automatically paired to your physical location, which means you don't have to just stay in the prayer closet. I can pray right now, and if I have a 911 prayer, because his line is never too busy, I can call him up and tell him what I want. It's just like your mobile device. It's just like your mobile device, which carries a part in the settings which you can turn your locator on, and everywhere you are, if you get on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, they can tell the location and where you sent the message from. Somebody needs to get their phone that you don't want your location known and turn your locator off. But when you have that location on, it can tell wherever you are. I was out of the country, and while I was out of the country, I sent a few photos of some prayers that I wanted to send on Facebook, and I got a response and say, Brother Pastor, if you don't want anybody to know where you are, you better make sure you go back in your settings and turn off your locator, because even though you're sending prayers across the waters, everybody know exactly where you are. Can I go ahead and tell you something tonight? That if you have a genuine prayer life, and if your life and your line is matching, Jesus told me to hashtag you tonight and tell you he is on the main line. And if you just call him and tell him what you want, then he told me to put in the second phase, his line is never too busy. And if you call him up, he'll answer you. And if you know who he is and what he's done for you, after he answers you, you can call him up. God already has your location. Is there anyone in here tonight that knows what a 911 prayer really is? I'm talking about one of those prayers when you don't have time to get formal with God. One of those prayers when you don't have time to tell God about your positions and your possessions and your titles. That type of prayer that when you pray, you don't have time to tell God all of what you've done. You don't have time to tell him you the pastor and the preacher, you the mission sister and the deacon. You don't have that kind of time. And let me go, I'm not talking about them prayers that we talk about. God let me get up this morning and he let me wash my face and he let me brush my teeth and let me button up my clothes and let me walk out in this front yard. I'm not talking about that kind of prayer, because that prayer moves people, but God wants us to pray to move him. God says every now and then I will send a situation your way, I will send a circumstance your way, and when I send it your way, the only time you have left is to say, Lord, hear thy servants pray. That 911 prayer that God hears. And let me say this, because God already know who I am. And I know he knows who you are. Since God already knows what we need, every now and then he wants us to cut across the field and talk directly to him. I wish I had about 20 folk on every side that you can wave at me. If you called him one time and didn't have time to give him your pedigree and God answered your prayer, and let me go ahead and tell you, even though he may not show up when you want him, but he's always on time. Sometimes God shows up before you finish praying. Sometimes while you're praying, God will answer. I wish I had somebody in here that you were praying your prayer, and before you open your mouth, God already gave you that. Surely, Daniel is not a stranger to pray. Surely, if you read anything about Daniel, you must talk about prayer. You do know Daniel knew how to pray. Daniel is seen in the 6th chapter, about verse number 10, on his knees praying. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you about Daniel. Daniel gets down on his knees, not just one time. But Daniel is guilty of getting down on his knees 3 times. And he is not talking about 3 times and 1 time. David and Daniel had something in line. David would pray, but he'll call on God's name. Daniel would pray, but he turned his face toward the wall. Daniel understood that his prayer life was entwined with his living life. And can I go ahead and tell you tonight, when you have an intimacy with the Almighty, you don't have to call on him as long, because he already knows who you are. When I call on him in the morning, I don't have to always remind him that he kept me all night last night. Can I tell you something? God is so smart. He already knows he's going to keep you to tomorrow before you go to sleep tonight. Says sometimes I want you to remind me that you know who you are, but let me go ahead and tell you, you don't have to tell me what I've done. I can tell you what I'm going to do before you even think about what I've already done. And when I get it lined up with your prayer life, I can hear your prayer before you ever pray. So Daniel is guilty of praying. But I think we play Daniel too cheap. Because Daniel is in a tough situation. He's in a situation where he is surrounded by controversy. Daniel is deported from his homeland. He's taken to the Babylonians. He's not one that have defected, but he's one that's been given. And why do you say God gave? God said in chapter 1 that he gave Jerusalem to Babylon. So Daniel is praying in chapter 6, and the reason why Daniel is so prolific in his prayer, because the Persian king had them to stand with their hands open and their palms up as they prayed, but yet Daniel is in his own secret closet. And instead of praying a public prayer, Daniel is praying a private prayer. And while Darius and those the Persian government are out waiting on publicity with the prayer, Daniel has the window open, but yet he's on his knees and he's praying to a God that owns everything. I'm talking to somebody in here tonight that you haven't gotten on your knees in a long time. You haven't gotten close to God in a long time. Your prayers have been long distance prayers that God have to use a rod and a reel to get them in. And I want to go ahead and tell you tonight, since God knows who you are, and since God knows what you're going to do, since God knows everything. I heard the old preacher say he's omnipotent, he's omniscient, and he's omnipresent. Since he knows all, sees all, and has all power, surely we ought to spend time with him. Daniel prays, but yet he disobeys the civil government. He disobeys it because not only is he praying, but Daniel realizes something in his prayer. He realizes that prayer changes things. And I'm talking to somebody in here tonight that you've been praying, and it just don't seem like God have heard your prayer. And the realization of him hearing your prayer is he actually heard you the first time. But maybe because he wants you to keep on praying, that he still want to answer you. And by the time you get ready to throw in the towel, God sends out a 911 alert for maybe Gabriel to come down and let you know I heard your prayer, and God heard it the first time. Daniel not only is he kneeling a posture, not only is he kneeling before the window, but Daniel goes to Bible study. He goes to his own personal Bible study. When you get to chapter 9, skipping over the den of lions, because he's praying in chapter 6 because he's going through something. But when he gets to chapter 9, he begins to pray for the sins of himself and the sins of the people. And that lets us know that we ought not be selfish in our prayer. That sometimes you ought to pray for other people. Sometimes you ought to get happy when other people get blessed. Sometimes you ought to pray for other people to enlarge territory. Sometimes we ought to pray that other people get healthy. Sometimes we ought to pray that other people are like. Sometimes we ought to pray for somebody else. Daniel in chapter 9, we see him in prayer. But Daniel goes in prayer because when you get to verse number 1, Daniel was studying the scripture in the first year that Darius took the throne. Darius is the king of the Medes Persians, while Nebuchadnezzar was the king of the Chaldeans, Babylonians. And when you hear those words interchangeably, you have to do a little study. That's another sermon, that you can understand the kinship between the Medes and the Persians. The kingship between the Chaldeans, which are called the Chaldeans, and the Babylonians. But he's in the first year of his reign. And as he begins to get in the first year of his reign, you find Daniel doing the same thing, praying. Daniel is praying, and he looks and starts reading the scripture. And no doubt in my mind, when he reads this scripture, Daniel stumbles upon Jeremiah 25. He looks at Jeremiah 25, going 1 through 14, and Daniel sees some things. He understands now why he is where he's at. And every now and then, you ought not ask God why you are where you are. You ought to just be content with where you are. Because the same God that put you where you are, the same God that to get you out. Is there anybody here that know God allowed you to get in trouble? But the same God that allowed you to get in trouble was the same God that got you out of trouble. I used to hear the preacher say this: preaching will get you in trouble. Preaching will make folk not like you, but keep on preaching, because the same one that got you in trouble, in due time, in due season, God will get you out of trouble. I wish I had about 3 pastors in here tonight that go ahead and identify with me that something you preached got you in trouble. But you kept on preaching that same sermon, got you out of trouble. But you had to call on the name of the Lord. And when he heard your cry, he pitied your every groan. And now that same sermon got you out of trouble. Daniel explains why the Jews have been in exile. And as he's explaining, Daniel's attention focuses on Jeremiah 25:11 through 13. It says that the whole land shall be a desolation. It shall be an astonishment. And these nations shall serve a king in Babylon. And they shall serve this king in Babylon some 70 years. And it shall all come to pass that as the 70 years are accomplished, after they're accomplished, I will punish the same country that punished you. And just like he allowed Babylon to punish the Jews, he used Persia to punish Babylon. Can I go ahead and drop this in for free? You don't have to worry about Russia. You don't have to worry about China. You don't have to worry about that nutcase in North Korea, because the same God that allowed them to start running their mouth, when God is ready to silence them, he knows how to silence them. He knows when to silence them. He knows where to silence them. And every now and then, God has to do something to the Christians to make us fall on our bended knee. I just believe that God is trying to call us onto a universal prayer meeting, where we'll put all this other stuff behind. We'll put down the sitcoms. We'll put down the reality shows. We'll put down the talk shows. We'll put down the electronic devices. We'll put all of this other stuff out of the way. Put down all of this sin and call a corporate prayer meeting. And the center of the prayer meeting is not going to be your house, not going to be my house, but the center of the prayer meeting should be the Lord's house. You do know that God will answer prayer. You do know God will change things. Well, I'm going to go ahead and cut across. Go across the field. As he talks about Jeremiah. As he deals with Jeremiah chapter 25. As he gives them a biblical history lesson. I hear Daniel asking God, I understand that Babylon had to overtake us. And I understand that Persia overtook Babylon. And I even understand that at the end of 70 years, we're supposed to be exiled. But I don't want to wait till the 70th year. I want to go ahead and pray in the 67th year. And what I found out, Pastor Eagleton, anytime the number 3 is in correlation with the Lord, something miraculous takes place. 67 years and talking about it ended in 70. That's 3 more years. And at the end of 3 years, God will do a miraculous thing. Can I go ahead and tell you, anytime you deal with 3, God will do something miraculous. So here we are. King Darius, who has signed a ridiculous decree. And he had not learned his lesson as of yet. Because surely after the den of lions experience, Darius should have known not to mess with Daniel. Surely Satan ought to have enough sense to know not to mess with God's people. But because he has not learned yet, because God is not ready to silence him yet, Satan is still able to run rampant around this world. But what I like about it is that God is still in control. And these were the wonderful promises that Daniel could claim. He was able to claim prayer will change things. Is there anybody in the house tonight that understands that prayer will change things? And prayer will change the prayer. I heard Daniel say in the understanding of the book of Daniel, verses 1 and 2 says, the first year of Darius, I heard that Mede and Persia was in control. But I found out that no matter who's in control, God has this whole world in his hand. Is there anybody here that understands that God has the whole world in his hand? I was in grade school, kindergarten, and we did the national to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag. But when it was all over and we got through praying, my teacher would not let us stop the devotion without singing this song. I got the whole world in his hands. God has you and me, brother, in his hand. God has the little bitty baby in his hand. You and me, sister, in his hands. He got my mama and my daddy in his hands. I come by to tell you, the best place to be is in the Lord's hand. So Daniel says, I got it now. I understand. I read the book. That is understanding that God will take care of you. Won't he do it? And you keep on reading. Daniel becomes an intercessor. He prayed for his own sins. And I found out in biblical counseling to turn from a lack of love, which is sin, to get to love, which is God. You have to turn from your wicked ways. It comes by the biblical framework to turn from a lack of love, to turn from a sense of guilt, to turn from apparent uncaused fear, to turn from believing God. You got to confess your low down ways and repent of your sin. Daniel said, Lord, before I can pray for the sins of your people, I gotta pray for my own self. God, I'm like Isaiah, it's me. I am a man with unclean lips. I'm like Isaiah. The folk I hang around, they curse a lot. The folk I hang around, they'll mess me a lot. The folk I hang around, they don't do right. But Lord, I'm not talking about nobody else. I'm talking about me. It's me, oh Lord, that's standing in the need of prayer. Is there anybody here that you're standing in the need of prayer? I come by to tell you, Daniel, the intercessor, he said, as I pray for myself, I got to pray for your people, because I heard what you said. You said, if my people, which you call by my name, shall humble themselves in prayer and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear, then will I hear, then will I forgive. And God, I'm calling on your name, because I know we have not done what we're supposed to do. We have not been all that we should be. But I thank you, Lord, I'm not what I used to be. Is there anybody in here that should thank God that you're not what you used to be? Then you said, I got it now. He claimed the wonderful promises of an all-wise God. Anybody here knows that God is, he's good, and he's good all the time. Whether I'm up, God is good. Whether I'm down, God is good. And I heard what Daniel said. Daniel kept on praying, and when he came and got to the knowledge of who God was, I heard Daniel say, now Lord, as I pray, hear thy servant's prayer. But Daniel told me, don't stop praying, because if you keep praying, you will get God's attention. Anybody here that you kept on praying, and 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 you got God's attention, and then Daniel says, while I was speaking, and while I was in prayer, I was still on my knees. I kept on praying. I was on my knees, begging the Lord, please. And while I was on my knees, I was a song in my prayer. And while I had tears in my eyes, while I had raindrops rolling down my face, and while I was twitching my fist so tight in prayer till I left marks in my hand, while I was on my knees, I prayed to the Lord. I told the Lord, have mercy, please. And then I saw to my right side an angel Naphtali. And an angel Naphtali is an angel in mean clothing. And it looks like it was Gabriel all by himself. Gabriel, God's angel. Gabriel, the messenger angel. Gabriel, the one who comes down. Gabriel and Michael had dealt with Daniel in before in a vision. When Daniel talked to Gabriel in chapter 8, it was concerning a ram and a goat, but this time it's concerning the people of Israel. And I come out to tell you, on my way to my seat, God will take care of you. Have you heard about God? He will come to see about you. May not show up, may not answer, but just keep on praying. God will take care of you. In that right, I'll come by to tell you, on my way to my clothes, that God said, I heard your prayer, and I'll send Daniel down to keep on praying for the children of Israel. But I'll send Gabriel down to talk to Daniel. I'll come by to tell you, just a little talk with Jesus will make everything all right, all right, and all right. I got some good news for you. When God is ready to do a God thing, anybody here in the house tonight can identify that God will answer your prayer. Are you here tonight? God will answer prayer. How do you know? I called on him and he answered. Anybody know that you call on the Lord? When you pray, conditions will be better. When you pray, prayer will fix it every time. Do you believe in prayer? Well, I gotta close now. When I sing about the goodness of an all-wise God, thank you, Daniel, for praying for me. Thank you, Daniel, for setting me free. Thank you, Daniel, for the anxiety. Thank you, Daniel, seeing the feet happening. Thank you, Daniel, for seeing the Christ happening. Because one Friday, you know him, don't you? Mary's baby. Joseph's son. Moses' bush. Abel's vindicator. I get up in the morning. I get out at night. Joe's horn. The lily of the valley. The bright morning star. The wheel and the wheel. One Friday. Jesus, he died. Jesus died. He died. Joseph died. He died. Didn't he die? Died till the sun refused to shine. Died till the moon took blood. Died till the centurion said, this must be a righteous man. Died till the thief on the left, so the thief on the right. I know about Jesus. I know about Jesus. Is there anybody here that knows about Jesus? He died. Did he die? He died. Did he die? Died on the old rugged cross. At the cross. At the cross where I searched for the life and the burden of my heart rolled away. Yeah. They buried my Jesus. Didn't they do it? They buried him right here. I say right here. I say right here. I say right here. Want it to pull on your table. Want it to pull on your back. Want it heal your soul, make you whole, pick you up, turn you around, say wow. Keep on praying, God is not them. Keep on praying, 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 say yeah. I was in the country just the other day. That's my time with God. I get to the country and I'm out of myself. And I was sitting with the doors open. And I kept hearing a faint, high-pitched noise. And I said, what's going on? And I heard it again, and I said, something is making some noise. And it's an unusual noise, because I haven't heard this one before. And I got close to the door. There was two little baby birds. They were right about flight age. One had flown up the top of the porch. came back down. Kept looking at the other one, and I just believe in bird language. That the bird that flew up first, he looked back down and saw that his brother or his sister wasn't flying. And he came back to tell her, come on, we gotta get out of here. It's danger in here. We gotta get out of here. Flew back up again and looked back down. They came back. But I fooled around and got too close to the door. And when I got close to the door, they made a different noise. I think they made a 911 call. Because when I stood back and looked, I saw two full-grown birds. Brother was trying to help his brother. And he said, I can't do it. I'm trying. So he made a 911 call to his daddy. And when his daddy came, he brought his mama. And mama took one bird, daddy took the other bird. And the next thing I knew, all of them were in the tree. All I'm trying to tell you, sometimes your mama and your daddy can't fix it. But I dare you to send a 911 call. God will. And God can. Mountain. Sing to level. Will you pray? Condition will get better if you pray. Things will change. You'll see. You know you'll see that, won't you? He will give you the victory. Because some